Amazon employee Edward Andron is alleged of committing sexual harassment in New York lawsuit. Plaintiff Richard Thomas claims in his lawsuit against Amazon that he faced sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and gender identity discrimination inside of Amazon. Thomas, who was a black man, alleges that Eddy Andron, who is a white man, sexually harassed him on multiple occasions. Number 1. In August of 2022, Edward Andron was recycling items and he was dealing with a long purple vibrator, which was in the shape of a penis. Edward unwrapped the vibrator from the box and he called Thomas and said, "Hey Rich, this is for you." Thomas replied, "Why don't you show it to and tell those girls over there?" Thomas pointed to employees Egypt and Diane. Edward replied, "I don't want to lose my job." Thomas stated, "That's sexual harassment. You are sexually harassing me right now." Edward responded, "No, I'm not." Thomas stated, "That's what you call same-sex sexual harassment, and you can lose your job for sexually harassing me." Edward stated, "No, I can't." Thomas replied, "Yes, you can. This is sexual harassment, and this shows that Edward feels that he can commit these discriminatory acts against Thomas because Thomas is a man, or specifically a black man, and Edward believes that nothing will happen to him. Number 2. On Wednesday, October 19, 2022, Edward, who is usually not at work on a Wednesday, told Thomas, "Stop looking at porn sites." Thomas responded, "What is a porn site? What do people do on a porn site?" Edward responded, "I don't know, but usually one hand is on the mouse and the other hand is stroking something else." Number 3. Edward refers to multiple women at Amazon as "she's a cunt." Number 4. Around the fall of 2022, Edward said they have Ben, BEN, the Black Employee Network. Where is WEN, WEN, the White Employee Network? They have Glamazon, gays and lesbians at Amazon. Where is the Straight Club? Amazon isn't a place for straight white men. This is what America is coming to. They have states that allow men to use women's bathrooms. This is what the world is coming to. Thomas opened his mouth and told Edward, "Men can use women's bathroom right here in Amazon." Edward responded, "No, they can't." Thomas replied, "Yes, they can." Number 5. A few days later, Edward took the plaintiff, Richard Thomas, to Human Resources to question about bathroom use of men and women. HR manager Tiffany Ocampo spoke to Edward and Thomas. Edward started talking to Ocampo and said, "This has political implications, religious implications, and social implications. But can a man use the woman's bathroom?" Ocampo responded, "This is not 20 years ago, and a man can certainly use the woman's bathroom." Edward then asked, "And he doesn't have to be dressed like a woman?" Ocampo answered yes. Edward then points at Thomas with his right thumb and asks Ocampo, "Do you mean that a man looking like him can actually walk into the woman's bathroom?" Ocampo responded, "If an employee feels like a woman, then it's perfectly fine for them to use the woman's bathroom." Edward then looked at the plaintiff and asked, "So Richard, do you feel like a woman?" Thomas replied, "This is not about me. You wanted to know if men could use the woman's bathroom, and you got your answer." Edward continued to ask in front of HR manager Ocampo, and Ocampo didn't do anything to stop his discriminatory questioning as Edward asked, "But do you feel like a girl?" Thomas replied, "I am just human. You are the one who wanted to know if men could use the woman's bathroom, not me." Instead of Tiffany Ocampo stopping Edward's discriminatory questioning, Ocampo began to aid and abet discrimination, and she asked the plaintiff, "What do you identify as?" Thomas replied, "I am just human." Ocampo made no effort to correct Edward, and she joined forces with Edward to aid and abet gender discrimination or sexual identity discrimination. Number 6. On November 3, 2022, Edward told the plaintiff, "Everybody knows you're out. Everybody knows the truth. You are the one that's in the closet. There's nothing wrong with those people who are on the other side of the spectrum." Thomas then asked, "Are you being homophobic?" Edward replied, "No." Thomas then stated, "You are being homophobic. You are talking like being gay is a disease or an illness that people have." Edward then stated, "I've worked with a lot of gay people and I've gotten along well with them." Thomas responded, "There are a lot of gay people who buy from Amazon, and when you get your paycheck, you don't say, 'Here's the straight dollar and here's a gay dollar. Let me put my straight dollars in my pocket and let me throw away my gay dollars.'" And what's interesting about this case is that Amazon is trying to hide and cover up the sexual harassment claims. Human Resources tried to say that Edward showed Thomas a picture of a vibrator, and Thomas told the manager that she was trying to cover up the incident and that it wasn't a picture of a vibrator. Thomas stated that he was shown an actual vibrator, and he wrote down that he was shown an actual vibrator, and Thomas never mentioned anything about a picture of a vibrator. And the attorneys who represent Amazon in the lawsuit are trying to get the case dismissed. And in one of their write-ins, they are not even mentioning the sexual harassment part of the complaint.